Go.
Have you ever just sat down and taken in your surroundings? Have you ever truly appreciated the green grass or stars in the night sky on a quiet, peaceful night? In this speech, I will talk a little bit about my trip to California and how much it made me realize how happy I am to call Iowa my home. In June 2008, my family and I took a trip to California for a week and a half. We loaded the plane in Des Moines, and it was the first flight my brother, sister, and I had ever been on. We were all a little bit nervous about the plane taking off, but we were busy chewing our gum so our ears would pop. When we got up into the air, the first thing I thought of was, wow, it's beautiful up here. When we were flying, we noticed that some of the fields were circular. Dad said it was because of the irrigation system. This was the first thing that made me realize how lucky we are in Iowa to not have to worry too much about irrigation. When we landed and picked up our luggage, I was overwhelmed by the busyness and with how many people there were flying in the middle of a week. Even though this is something that was probably very normal to anyone living in California, this was something new and unexpected to me. In our small communities in northeast Iowa, I take the closeness of our community for granted. Our first stop, a tour of San Francisco. My dad's Uncle Roger was gracious enough to show us around and give us a tour from the local point of view. He showed us the Golden Gate Bridge, Bubba Gump Shrimp, Chinatown, Fisherman's Wharf, and the ocean, just to name a few. As we drove around San Francisco, I was amazed at just how crowded the houses were. They were building to building, no yards, no trees, just cement. I can't imagine living in a house like that, with my neighbors just a few feet from me, and being able to hear my every move through the walls. Where we live now, even though it is in town, we have about half an acre of property that we are on all the time, whether it's playing soccer, basketball, on the swing set, or just having a bonfire. When we went to Disneyland, we would stand in line for an hour just to get on a 1-minute ride. Don't get me wrong, it was amazing, but I think there were more people at Disneyland than there are living in the whole town of Waukon. And after the week and a half was over and we were driving back to the airport, I had my camera out and was taking a bunch of pictures of the scenery. I hadn't really realized how brown everything was. In the cities, they would water everything, so it stayed green. But when you got out onto the interstate, all the grass and even the trees looked brown. My last impression was when we were driving through Los Angeles and the amount of traffic that there was. It was fast moving, and it made me a little nervous to even be that close to another vehicle going 85 miles per hour. Although it is normal to be driving that quickly out in California, in my one stoplight town of Waukon, it is almost unheard and unthought of, and something I'm glad I don't have to be driving it every day. Going to California affected me in such a tremendous way, because it really made me realize how happy I am to call Iowa my home.